The unhackable RTX 3060 has been hacked. For those of you who haven't been following what's been going on with the RTX 3060, NVIDIA said in the lead up to the release of this card that the driver, firmware, and yeah, I think it's mostly down to the driver and firmware of the card. We're going to have a handshake that we're basically going to make it so that the card would be able to detect if it was mining Ethereum and then throttle its performance in that particular workload until it's stopped and it goes back to gaming or rendering or whatever the case may be. And NVIDIA said that because there's this firmware driver handshake that's taking place and it's all encrypted and validated and whatever, that this performance lock would be unhackable. And they said the goal of this endeavor was to make it so that RTX 3060s would not be appealing to miners, hopefully decreasing the demand for them from scalpers, making it so that gamers could buy them at a reasonable price. Of course, we talked through sort of why NVIDIA's actions seem to have more to do with protecting their bottom line and less to do with actually protecting gamers from opportunistic scalpers. But you can watch the whole video about that if you really want to. But one of the things we also talked about was that NVIDIA's actions here not only don't really do anything to protect gamers. We didn't think they were going to do anything to prevent miners from utilizing these cards. And one of the big key steps in defeating NVIDIA's cryptocurrency mining block has already taken place. Now, usually something getting hacked is not as simple as just like, you know, you get into the mainframe and you get the Control-Alt-Delete in there.
You type really fast and then suddenly
you get the matrix code coming down. It's not usually the way it works. I mean, you look at a project like the iPhone. It's a never-ending battle because there's always new hardware, there's always new software updates, there's always new workarounds, and it's like this game of cat and mouse. So you look at something where the hardware doesn't change, something like a Nintendo console. You know, you go back to the R4 cards on the DS, or you look at the Android. I don't know what to call it. Yeah, I guess it's probably a hack. The Android hack on the Nintendo Switch. Those are things that little by little by little by little, what is usually a very dedicated and usually very small community chips away. So, you know, first they need to pass some key hurdles. They need to get, like root access, for example. They need to break the bootloader. Like they need to kind of get past these hurdles. And then once they do that, it's like, oh, yay, now we've got Android running on it. Because it's just a Tegra chip. So like, obviously it could run on it, but oh wait, Nintendo has a totally different way of implementing Bluetooth because Nintendo lives on a different planet where Bluetooth wireless in-ear headphones aren't a thing and no one would want to use that or whatever, so, Bluetooth doesn't work and Wi-Fi doesn't work. And you got to kind of chip away at these things little by little. But one of the key tools in any hacker's toolkit is a proof of concept, right? Having it working in some small way so that you can take that solution and then trace the path back to create a better solution. So to be clear, it's not like people can build a mining farm out of 3060s right now. In fact, my understanding is you can only mine at full speed on it if you have it connected to an external display and if it is the only 3060 in the system. But this is still a major win because once you have it working that's
a lot less of things that are limiting you from doing what you want to get out of the way.
Exactly.
You now have it mining. You have very clear steps forward. Now you need to try to get rid of the monitor limitation and the only 3060 limitation, and then you're going.
Yes, and it also gives you so basically what happened was NVIDIA NVIDIA accidentally released a developer driver that did not have the mining limiter implemented, version 470.05. It requires a developer account, but anyone can be instantly verified for a developer account, and allowed these cards to mine at 40 to 50 mega hashes per second instead of 20 to 25. Whew. Yeah, so one of the other things...
I think this part was already mentioned, but this isn't actually like really good for gamers before you get your hopes up, because you're stuck on that driver. And game-ready drivers are kind of a thing, so big yikes.
So one of the other things that having a working version to compare to your blocked version does is it allows you to look at how the system behaves differently when it's working versus when it's blocked, so you can try and reverse engineer how the block works. And yeah, one of the things that's, like Luke said, is a real bummer about this is that while this does prevent commercial miners from getting the most out of these 3060s for now, what it doesn't do is allow individual gamers to recoup some of the cost from their card by just mining on the side if they want to get the best performance and the best feature compatibility in the latest games, like with a game-ready driver.
As a gamer probably would.
One of the other problems that this presents for gamers too is that if the news keeps coming like this, oh hey, now it's working with a monitor attached, and now it's working with no monitor attached, but you can just have one in the system. Oh, now it's working this way. Miners will continue to grab these cards at every possible opportunity because A, it's already profitable anyway, even with the nerf, and B, if there's hope that the profitability of it could go up, well then they're obviously going to want to get them while they can because the price of these things is only going to go higher. Now, the upcoming 3080 Ti, or the rumored upcoming 3080 Ti, is rumored to have a similar mining performance nerf on release, but if the feature is implemented in the same way, whatever workaround that now miners have access to, one way, or now they can at least observe, whatever workaround they build for this could potentially be used for new cards as well. So Phoenix Miner developers claim to be working on a kernel level update. This is over a week ago. So even if NVIDIA rolls back the drivers or makes it more difficult to gain access to developer tools, others are still hard at work trying to remove the blocker. And then one of the other key pillars of NVIDIA's sort of segmentation of the market between gamers and miners is creating their mining only cards. And my big objections here, a lot of people misunderstood that video. It was kind of shocking. People were like, what are you mad? NVIDIA is trying to make money? They're a company, they're going to make money. No, I never said that. I run a company that tries to make money. I mean, I even made it very clear, I thought, in the video with my sort of cheeky segue to our sponsor that I got no problem. People got to eat. I got to eat. Luke's got to eat. Luke, you got to eat, right?
Yep, sometimes.
Man's got to eat, okay? I got no problem with that. The problem is presenting what is a blatant business move as some kind of magnanimous gift that you're giving to gamers. It's not. So don't pretend it is. If NVIDIA had released mining cards and said, yep, we're releasing mining cards, I'd have said, okay. We'd have talked about it on WAN Show or TechLinked or whatever. I wouldn't have made a whole video about it.
It might have been like a little disappointed due to silicon shortage and stuff like that, but wouldn't have been nearly as big of a deal.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said NVIDIA doesn't care about gamers because NVIDIA wouldn't have pretended that the move was about caring about gamers. So I might have said, I'm disappointed at the amount of unnecessary e-waste. And to be clear, a gaming card is e-waste too, but this is in the video. It's always obvious when someone comments and they haven't actually watched the video. This is in the video. I'm not telling you guys don't buy a graphics card because it's e-waste. I mean, yeah, sure, that might be the environmentally responsible thing to do. But what I'm saying is, you know what, that's bad enough already. Why don't we not make it worse on purpose? So instead of manufacturing cards that have literally no purpose other than to suck up power and then go to a landfill, why don't we just put a display connection on it so that at least once it's done its life as a mining card, it can go be a gaming card, or vice versa for that matter. I called on them in that video to just unlock the mining capabilities of it, because the lock, as I said, and as has come to pass, didn't do anything. Miners are still buying all the cards, and they're figuring out how to work around it already anyway. So why not just let retail gamers mine a little bit of Ethereum on the side? Which is kind of my whole there. That's kind of everything I have to say. Oh, there's also the separate issue that the CMP mining cards seem to be based on, are they based on Pascal or Turing? I can't remember. The point is they actually don't appear to be Ampere anyway. And the performance per watt seems to be like kind of terrible, meaning that I don't even, yeah.
There's been a decent amount of rumors that it's basically just they're like garbage.
And
like
so
that, like, had die issues and stuff, and they're just like, ship it.
Well, no. NVIDIA made that very clear that these did not meet their requirements for GeForce.
But there's been rumors that it's like worse than we thought.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you know what? Fair enough, I guess. But then I just looking at the numbers, I don't see why anyone would buy them. They're extremely expensive. They consume too much power for the hash rate. And honestly, I would just rather that instead of creating artificially segmented products, manufacturers just make the best thing they can and then let it be as useful as it can. Like I've talked about these same things, whether it's Intel locking out ECC memory compatibility on their core chips, or whether it's NVIDIA or AMD for that matter, locking out, performance capabilities in professional applications on their non-Quadro or non-Fire cards. It's something I find very frustrating in general. Or whether it's Tesla, including rear heated seats, and then you pay to, allow the electrons to flow. I find it very frustrating, even though I do understand the business cases around building features in that way. Now, particularly something like Quadro or Fire, I find it a little less offensive because there really is significant driver development work. So essentially you're not buying hardware at that point. You are buying software. There is significant development work that goes into validating those products for these professional applications. It's the for no apparent reason functionality locks, canning the double precision floating point performance of a Titan, for example, that can be very frustrating.